Alright, I've shown you how to draw one of the objects, the three-dimensional drawing number 3, using lines, but I want to show you something different. We're going to do a drawing with the first drawing number 1, slightly different. So again, going to do it in SketchUp. So if I can get you to go to SketchUp, we'll get rid of the lady. I think her name's actually, oh, it's Sophie. I thought it was Susan, but anyway. What I want you to do here is we're going to do something a little bit different. So looking at this, I know that it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 squares along the front. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 squares along the bottom there. So I can assume that that's a 5 by 5 cube. Square at the bottom. I'm going to assume that each of these little cubes here are 10 millimeters long. So if you can go to SketchUp, I want you to get to a rectangle tool. Again, I'm going to draw out a square, and I'm using the dimensioning square down the bottom. I'm typing in 50, 50, and it'll give me 50 by 50 millimeter square. Now remember, it's designed for houses, architects, etc. So I need to use a zoom in, or I can use a 2-finger zoom. It's up to you. What I'm going to do this time is I'm going to use a push-pull tool. So I have a square here for the base. Now if I want to do this as though it's a cube, so I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I want a cube that goes up 5 height. So I get this push-pull tool and I start to pull up. Again, I type in 50 and I now have my cube. So I have my cube that I can start working on. So basically you can imagine if this piece here hadn't been cut out, this would be a cube. Now I want to use the ruler that on SketchUp to mark some lines in. So I want to mark a line in here. I don't want to draw the line, but I want to mark where it's going to be. I want to do the same thing there. And I also want to do the same thing up on that one. So I want to know how high that line is up there, how far this line comes in, and how far this line comes in. So if I go back to SketchUp, I grab my tape measure. Now it's good if you get right on the line, not on the midpoint or on the corner. Now I wanted a line in at 10, so don't pick the midpoint there, it doesn't seem to work properly. Don't pick a corner, try and get on an edge. I come 10. So as you can see already, that's going to be my L shape there. And I'm going to move that up. Again 10. Now I'm going to use something that's called a push-pull tool. So basically I'm going to push this entire triangle section from the front right over. So the way that I'm going to do that is I'm just going to change to a pencil tool, and I'm going to draw from one side to the other, from one point to the other. You can see I basically have a triangle. That is exactly the same shape as this, only it's on this front face. So if I come here, my push-pull tool, I'm going to push back. Now I want to push it back until I get to that line. So did you see how it's snapped? So if I go too far, if I go up and touch that line, see how it's got a red dot on that line? It's telling me it's caught on that. So now if I let go, it's in that spot. Now the next thing I need to do is I need to do this little cutout section here. So I know that this cutout section starts 1 cube from this corner, and this cutout section here starts 2 cubes. If I go across 1 was that point there, 2 is that point there. So what I'm going to do is again get my tape measure. I said it was 2 cubes from the back, so that's 20. And I said it was 1 cube from the front. This might be a little bit difficult, so I'll zoom in just a little bit. Remember, I don't want to get on the midpoint. Sorry, I've got to zoom in quite close this time. So I'll zoom back out a little bit. So now I want a rectangle that's going to be on here. So I don't know how long this line is down here, but I do know that if I start at that point, it goes back parallel to the green axis. So I can just go back and see how it's snapped onto my ruler. That's why I use rulers. Rulers can come in very handy because later on I can just erase the whole ruler. I don't have to erase parts of lines. So I've clicked on that point, come across, it's snapped onto there, click up, there. So that is my little triangle. Again, I need to push back. How far do I need to push it back? In this case, I need to go back 2 squares, so it'll be a total of 20 millimeters. So I'm going to do something a little bit different this time. I'm going to click on here. Now I didn't put a ruler in, so I don't know, it's got nowhere to stop. So what I'm going to do is start to push it back a little bit. and then just without touching anything else, type in 20 in the measurement, and it brings up that cutout. Now, I go back out, rub out my rulers, and you'll notice now that you have that object that you drew in class. So basically, those two are the same thing. Again, if you want to check to see if it looks the same as you drew in class, remember, your camera's set at perspective. Can you change it to parallel? So in class, you should have had something that looked like that. Maybe like that. Sorry, that's the bottom and the back. So there would have been a side view, a top view, and a front view. So you can double check to see if that's exactly what your object looked like when you did the drawing.